Okay, guys. Okay, I see K-Heads is in the house. K-Heads in the house with Jenna and the Birds. Thank you guys for joining us. This is rather impromptu, but there's some weird things going on that we want to cover. We'll try to focus on these items right here with this one particular live, and gonna start by pointing out Kennedy Space Center, Florida. You see, holy bleep, it just went boom. Witness footage of Jeff Bezos' New Glenn rocket fail. Massive apocalyptic mushroom cloud explosion. Yeah, this certainly is an attention getter. The reason also why I wanted to go live and just cover this with you guys is because immediately Cindy and I both picked up exactly the same thing. And Cindy will be joining us in a moment. We are literally in between scheduled appointments, so we are trying to keep everything flowing smoothly here. This feels very, very important, very, very significant. This is a massive, massive rocket. Again, goes boom. We've seen quite a few failures with rockets. And, people have questioned, why in the world have we not set up a permanent station on the moon? Why do we not have permanent bases on Mars yet? Of course, you have Elon, giving his desires for just both of those things to manifest, but then Elon's had explosions too. I think there's messages in this, big messages. Here is another view from a little farther away. I mean, quite an explosion. And this, if it was by itself, would be one thing, but it's not. There's other anomalous events taking place at the same time. In fact, there's many different events taking place that I think are part of something that's much, much bigger. This was another view. This is John C.N., his view. And you can see quite obviously something's going majorly wrong here. Of course, we've talked all about flat Earth, round Earth. Is it possible to penetrate the dome? Yes, we do feel it's very possible to penetrate the dome. Again, we've gone into detail and even had complete videos all about that in the past. But if you are new here, we cover things like breaking events like this. We cover deep spiritual insights, as well as exposing the reality behind all the illusions that we get from the mass media, which again humanity is awakening to at this point in time in mass, which is a wonderful thing because we need to awaken to the reality that no, we're not alone. Why are they bringing all this out at this point in time too? These are things that we talk about in depth. Again, we do encourage you to subscribe to Evolutionary Energy Arts, to EEARTS, and to Heart's Ohm here on YouTube. Everything goes up on our Patreon as well, and we do also have a Rumble, Brightian, and BitChute channel. We've been doing this for 9 years and over 5,000 videos and lives. So, hi guys, great to see you guys. We have Jen and the Birds, as we had said, K-Heads. We have Christine Love, Watch Me Tower. Robbie's in the house, Ron's in the house, Diana's in the house, Will's in the house, Ray's in the house. So now we could get going. You guys are doing great. I hope. Yeah, that didn't go well, Ron. And Regina's here. Awesome. So good to see all you guys. Now, I lived in the Columbia area for, 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. Columbia, South Carolina. Still have friends and family there. This is another thing. Is this related at all, or is this non-related to the explosion down in Florida? Holy cow. So I checked with family I have in that area, and yeah, they heard it. They're about 10 miles out of Columbia, but it definitely shocked them. Wow, that's loud. Yeah, turn up the volume, guys. Here you go. I got the volume up. What do you make of that sound? Wow. Here you go. This is PD in the Midlands. The whole area heard it. It was quite large. The USGS has confirmed it was a sonic boom and not an earthquake. But my family member that's over there in the area says there's been a lot of earthquakes lately. Now, I do keep up with it. Okay, are they marking this as an explosion? Sonic boom. Okay, they're marking it as a sonic boom. That's kind of unusual, too. You don't really usually see this, but so many reports from people all over the Midlands about this. Very, very curious. I will share, you can see where they're centering it. There have been unusual earthquakes around Lake Murray here in the Irmo area. In fact, I've seen quite a few. Now, there are also times when you'll get swarms of quakes coming off to the east of Fort Jackson. This is the largest military installation. This is where most of the people that go through Army basic training go through Fort Jackson. My father went through basic training at Fort Jackson many, many years ago. And then you see the little towns of Elgin and Lugoff and Camden. Family member over in this area was saying they've been feeling a lot of earthquakes. I think there's a lot of booms. Let's look at 30 days to see what they're showing. They're not showing anything, but yet they were saying they felt a lot of earthquakes lately in this area. So the USGS is not showing much in 30 days. You have over here 1.9. There's 4 that they're showing in this area, and then up a little bit in Winnsboro, 2.3 and a 2.4. Very shallow, 3 kilometers deep, 7.2 kilometers deep, 17.7 kilometers deep. And then, of course, we have that sonic boom one. Again, with Fort Jackson, I do believe there's a really large and ever-expanding underground military base there. I've talked about it before. The area over here to the east of Camden, this is where you had the Bishopville, as you see the Bishopville Highway, monster sighted, which was very much a reptilian type of being that popped up on the road and literally put claw marks and bite marks in a car, way back in the 70s. That was a crazy situation when you think about it. How could that be, tied into all this? Well, because, we've been, in my opinion, we're kind of living a lie. They're giving us disclosure now because they have no choice. But the reality is, there's always been many entities around us that are way more advanced than we are. And sometimes they go to war with each other.
Indeed they do. Sorry I was absent for a minute. Was feeding the dragons because, they eat they just need to eat. Dragons, they're like that. But isn't it just a crazy day? It feels like a very high intensity day. There's Schumann was really off the charts in a couple of different ways that would definitely affect us and having us process and purge a lot of things. So if you had any kind of like emotional release, whether it be anger, tears, frustration, joy, something like that, that could have been that Schumann pushing these emotions up and out to help you process even further. So much of our trauma are stuck emotions. Remember, energy in motion. And if energy is stuck, that's just going to sit there and kind of drill into the body and then energy body and then drill into the body itself and create problems with your organs. So the earth definitely helps us push these energies up and out. But then we have this extra added chaos. I mean, what do we do with it?
Yeah, and our brother Wayne will be going live shortly, and so we will go off for him to go on. But I really wanted to talk to you guys about this because there's this feeling that's building, and a lot of people could feel there's something super big around the corner. Let's see if we hear it on this one. Yeah, that got everybody barking, and this one, again, they don't give the exact location, but, it's just wild. Let's hear this one. That to me sounds more like artillery in the distance. It really does. It really does. We've talked at length so many times about the wars of the gods literally happening over the heads of humans. From our perspective, in all of our studying, plus then the ability to get the channeled information coming through, that war has never stopped. It's never stopped. And we've just been in a lull. And it does feel that it may be going live again in this time frame.
I know. Yeah. What do we think about that? A lot of information coming out, from the stars too. The planetary alignments are adding things to this. I think it's adding energy to everything that we're already experiencing, and it's going to heighten things to a new level. So I don't know, looking at it feels weird. And then all this talk about things that are going to happen with the landings, Project Bluebeam, is it fake, is it real? If the goal was to put us in a state of complete chaos, I think they've done that.
Yeah, I think they've used Project Bluebeam itself as a debunking mechanism. I think they've used it. So, I feel actually who really exposed Project Bluebeam? I think the governments did. Why would they do that? Why would they tell you that there's going to be things that are fake up in the sky? To dissuade you that what you're looking at is not real. And to bide more time and keep more people asleep, keep people more in their particular dogma and their mindset. If they told everybody that, look, we compared to some other cultures out there, we're playing with sticks and stones. There are other beings out there that literally have the ability to blow up planets, entire planets. And, we ourselves, by ourselves, couldn't do a damn thing to stop it. That would terrify a lot of people.
I think it would just put people in a state of shock, and that's very difficult when people go in that state of shock because they could be even more unpredictable.
I see Diana's talking about seeing a lot of orbs in the mountains of Asheville. I think what's happening is, again, there's a lot of entities that are neutral. They're not really necessarily on any side in this bigger intergalactic, interdimensional war. They're just watching things because they're curious. And perhaps even time travelers coming through to check at this period of time, because we are in historic times. Absolutely historic times. This is when the people that have been kept in the dark for several thousand years, not having a clue about their own existence, not really understanding the very planet they live on, not knowing the true history, this is when they discover a lot of what's really going on. And I think there's so many entities that are like, it's almost like, Mom, Dad, can we go to Earth? Let's get some popcorn. We got to watch the show. This is the most incredible show in thousands of years.
You know, and then there's these other entities that watch us and they know what's going on here, but they also have a layer of the universe that they kind of don't understand either. So we're all in this conundrum. If we don't understand it as a whole, we can understand it if we work together. And if there's going to be another layer of beings that are here that are unlike us, well, that gives us someone to talk to. Maybe they, if they have further information, that would help us out a lot, if we were actually conversing with them, if that's something that were to occur.
Yeah. So, right now, overall, as far as like checking out the quake activity, again, we had 2 unusual 6.0s that popped up. And, as I sometimes do, being kind of senile here, I forgot to mention a really important part of what I felt those 6.0s were, because we said that it was a little unusual that they were so close to each other over here. I really felt initially right away that what this was literally benevolent ultra-terrestrials that were allowing or maneuvering and using their ability to diffuse energy that could be building up in a very negative way to bring about a couple of quakes that would kind of ease the situation, de-escalate a growing situation. That was my immediate feel with these 6.0s, that it was an act of the benevolent ones to diffuse some action, some energy that could end up causing problems elsewhere. So that was my immediate, just right away, feeling. And, I think, again, when you start looking at those things that come to you where there's no time to have conscious thought, it's just something pops up in your mind and you didn't think about it logically. It just popped in there. Look for those things, because that's actually communication from higher self and your guides.
Yeah, just sort of comes out of nowhere.
It comes out of nowhere, and so this is the significant quakes for the last month. 6.9 in Chile, and then we had Japan 6.7, 6.6 Southern East Pacific rise, and then we go into the 2 6.0s. So that's not really a lot. It really is not a lot at all. Typically we will get a 7, which, we kind of had that with these, but not quite. I do think we do have help from benevolent beings, but it's up to us to make the changes. It's up to us to not go along with things that the system is doing that we don't agree with. And I saw that there was more than one instance where citizens speaking up against those those things that drain all the water out of an area and cause all sorts of energy pollution. Yeah, those centers that are driven by data. Well, they're getting shot down, guys. They're getting shot down. So keep pushing. This is key. We have to say we will not accept these things. We are not accepting the narrative. If we don't speak up enough, if we don't assert our will that we want the planet to be healthy, we want it to be free, we want it to be clean, and we're not going to, buy the BS that they're always selling so they can always be basically leeching off of us. It takes us to speak up and to say no, to really change the paradigm. But I do think there are signs right now that there are a lot of entities watching us currently. And I think this is also a notice to the system, because Cindy and I both picked up on Blue Origin, that what it is it's a message to the system that's been controlling humanity, that they're not going to be allowed to do certain things anymore. They're not going to be allowed. Earth will not suffer the fate of Tiamat, which, again, when you look to the mythologies and a lot of channeled material, Earth was recreated from the destruction of Tiamat. It was the biggest chunks that were salvageable that coalesced and became Earth out of the destruction of Tiamat, which was a vastly much larger planet that was extraordinarily abundant with a wide variety of life. And truly, it was almost like a exceptional paradise that was completely destroyed because of ultra-terrestrial warfare, literally.
Yeah. That's just been so much war here. It's incredible, and not to mention, the flock cameras. Love gallium. What do we think about that? It's just layers and layers and layers of BS and layers of control, and they've been layering it for hundreds of years. So, this is definitely not a human designed type of world that we live in. This is definitely a different type of design from beings who live much longer than us. And obviously it's not their first rodeo, because they know when and how to layer on the control grid in a way that ultimately puts them in complete charge. But at the same time, the phones, the smartphones, all the apps, all the things, these are what they're using to control us. Did you notice how hard it is to even buy a scale these days without a scale, without an app? I mean, just a scale, but they always want an app. So it's like everything you buy now has to come with an app, and they're trying to cripple us with the smartphone. It's like you have to use a smartphone to go to the bathroom pretty soon. I mean, it's redonkulous.
Yeah, and they keep us occupied with a lot of stuff, like, slush funds, approval ratings, et cetera, et cetera. Robots need clothes. The robots are hitting the catwalk now. This is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Billionaires working to contain the AI revolt. There are no billionaires working for humanity. They're only working for themselves. It's like, what's the sound of one hand clapping? That's what you're saying when you're talking about billionaires working for humanity. It's an impossibility, because you don't get to be that way in a corrupt world without being corrupt and part of the system. So what hit me was, this was a message to the system that's here and has been controlling us, the dark matrix control system, that archonic control system. Again, those families that were designated to watch over this place by other dark entities while they go and hide in the shadows. Well, it's a message to them, because there are beings on higher densities that are so much farther advanced than even the Draconian Empire, that, are letting them know. They're putting them on notice. Now, again, karma, free will, they have to allow us to give free will. The way, and I'm going to get off quick, but I just wanted to give you this quick update. When you do things like vote, right? You're voting for the system. You're saying, I accept the system. When you sign your name, and why is everything all in caps? And all this is giving power to the system. It's when we just say, no, I don't accept anything of this system. And yes, right now we're in a transition period. If you go against the IRS, they still will probably take your property, et cetera, et cetera. It's a transition period that we are going through. So it's going to be a little awkward right now, and we still have to wade through the landmines. But the reality is, what's happening here is the death knell of that system. It's up to humans to stand strong and be really assertive, that we're not going to take it. That I saw somebody saying, the old... was it not quite right? It was Dee Schneider and Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it anymore. That's what they want to see, the humans. The benevolent ETs want to see us say, we are not going to take it anymore. This is our planet. And yes, we're not going to go along with the politicians polluting and destroying things on purpose and then making us feel guilty about doing wrong. But it's just them. They're they're Pied Pipers leading us off a cliff knowingly.
I know it's a mess out there, guys.
Guys, we'll try to come back later today after our work. We thank you guys again for your support. Please do thumbs up, share, hype these things. I think we all get 3 hypes a week is the way the system works. We appreciate it. We are here for you. This is our purpose. It's not to be billionaires. We have absolutely no desire for that, not even to be millionaires. But I do think everybody should have abundance. Everyone should have abundance, and it doesn't have to be at the expense of each other. We could rise up together, unified, and change the whole paradigm so that everybody has abundance and the freedom to enjoy their lives without being told all the crazy things they tell us to do.
I agree.
As always, much love, Source bless, and namaste.
Namaste.